In my opinion, when Pierre Poilievre isn't in the House of Commons for question period, the second best person is sometimes Andrew Scheer. He's a wizard and he's kind of like a troll. Doesn't look like a troll, but I mean his actual persona, how he presents himself is very troll-like. He's just very funny and witty. And today we're going to take a look at Andrew Scheer filling the place of Pierre Poilievre during the latest question period. I hope you enjoy this clip as much as I do, along with other Conservative MPs who just dropped bombshells on the Liberals. And Justin Trudeau isn't there. He's actually away in Poland, and I don't think he flew there on his magic electric carpet. I think he flew there on our dime, taxpayers' dime, of course, spending millions of dollars on jet fuel and doing a little nose candy with Zelensky or whatever he is up to. But before we get into it, I want to encourage y'all to smash the like button and subscribe if you haven't yet already. It does really help grow the channel. We're on route to 100,000 subscribers here on House of Canada. And the way we're going to do is actually, if you, above and beyond just subscribe, you turn that little bell notification on. It's post notification, so you can actually be notified of upcoming videos. But more importantly, the live streams. I live stream every single question period here on House of Canada, and I would love for you to be a part of that community if you aren't yet. So the way to do that is by turning those post notifications on, because notifications and stuff like that, they actually get buried on YouTube. But never mind that stuff. Let's take a look at this clip. I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. Here we go. Oral questions. Questions orales. Honorable Andrew Scheer of the opposition.
Common sense Conservatives will axe the tax, fix the budget, build the homes, and stop the crime. This NDP Liberal Prime Minister is proving that he's not worth the cost, the crime, or the corruption. Now, the NDP are pretending to be outraged by the ArriveCAN scandal, but the Liberals didn't have enough votes to get the funding through Parliament, so the NDP came to the rescue and 8 times voted to keep funding no-show jobs and IT work that was never done. Common sense Conservatives voted no. Had the NDP and Bloc done the same, ArriveCAN would never have happened. So does the NDP Liberal coalition deal require the NDP to fund Liberal corruption?
Man, Andrew Scheer is a whiz. He's good.
The Honourable Member for Public Works.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This question has already received multiple answers. The fact that it's coming from the former Speaker of the House, Mr. Speaker, is obviously a bit strange. He would know that if he needs to ask questions to the NDP, I am not, and we are not on this side of the good people, the right people to answer those questions. I would invite our colleague to ask the questions to the right people.
The Honourable Member from Regina Capel.
It's his government's deal with the NDP, Mr. Speaker. And while common sense Conservatives will axe the tax, fix the budget, build the homes, and stop the crime, the NDP Liberal Prime Minister is proving that he's not worth the cost or the corruption. The Prime Minister managed to find $60 million for his ArriveCAN app, but now he's going to reach into the pockets of Canadians yet again and hike the carbon tax on April 1st. Canadians are struggling with out-of-control costs, and millions of Canadians are visiting the food bank for the first time. So will the Prime Minister just show some compassion and cancel his plan to hike the carbon tax?
The Honourable President of the Treasury Board.
Mr. Speaker, unlike the Conservatives who deny that climate change exists and want to take money away from
We just don't want to tax the climate, man. That part doesn't make any sense.
For you, for the Conservatives, in particular, what are they going to cut? Are they going to cut $1,100 from Ontario families, $1,800 from Alberta families, $1,200 from Manitoba families? Conservatives deny climate change. They're planning to take away hundreds of dollars from families. That's not common sense, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member from Regina Capel.
Conservatives are going to axe the tax and not take the money out of Canadians' pockets in the first place, Mr. Speaker.
Yeah.
And their own nonpartisan independent parliamentary budget officer has concluded that Canadians pay far more in the carbon tax than anything they hope to get back in the rebate. And on April 1st, they're going to hike it again. And something devastating is happening in Canada, Mr. Speaker. People are starting networks on social media to coordinate efforts to go dumpster diving. There's actually one in Toronto, Mr. Speaker, and the founder said the most common answer we get to the question of why do you want to join this network is too broke to afford food. Why are they hiking the carbon tax?
Yeah.
The Honourable
Well said, Mr. Scheer.
Treasury Board.
Mr. Speaker, note that the opposition does not rebut the claim that they deny that climate change exists. Note that they are not standing up for future generations of Canadians by protecting sustainability and acting on climate change. But I want to say, Mr. Speaker, the inflation numbers have come down below 3%. Yes. Our government is continuing to put money back in the pockets of Canadians, and we will be there for Canadians, offering supports to the most vulnerable Canadians while the Conservatives vote against every single time.
On one hand, common sense Conservatives will axe the tax, build the homes, fix the budget, and stop the crime. On the other hand, after 8 years, we have an NDP Liberal Prime Minister who isn't worth the cost, the crime, or the corruption, but he needed support for his $60 million Arrive scam. And where did he get it? From the costly cover-up coalition NDP. Yeah. Right. Now, what Canadians want to know in this scandal that cost them millions is what did these Liberals promise the NDP in exchange for their vote to support the corruption of this government?
Reminder, everyone, smash the like button. We're on the way to 100,000 subs.
Mr. Speaker, when it comes to the issue of allegations of misconduct in the procurement process, we take that very seriously. On the other hand, you see the Conservatives contorting themselves to come up with catchy slogans. While they do so, we're actually doing the work to get to the bottom of what happened here because, Mr. Speaker, anyone who acted inappropriately, there will be consequences, and we have already committed, the president of the CBSA has already implemented changes, but the Conservatives can stick to their slogans.
The honourable member from Leeds, Grenville, Thousand Islands and Rideau Lakes.
Well, it won't fit on a bumper sticker, but that member and everyone over there voted against the common sense Conservative motion calling for the Auditor General to investigate their corruption. And corruption is exactly what they found, and that's what they get on that side of the House. On this side of the House, they have common sense Conservatives who will axe the tax and build the homes and fix the budget and stop the crime. So why did the NDP support these Liberals with the $60 million Arrive scam that saw Liberal insiders working in their basement getting paid millions while Canadians line up at their food banks? What did the Liberals promise the NDP?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Public Safety.
Mr. Speaker, on the contrary, we support the work being done by the Auditor General, including the Information Commissioner. We want to get to the bottom of what happened here. Mr. Speaker, the CBSA president has been very forthright in sharing information with the committee. The minister has spoken with her as well, ensuring that information is being shared because we welcome this work. And as I have said many times in this House, Mr. Speaker, any misconduct in the procurement process will come with consequences.
The honourable member from Brantford Grant.
Mr. Speaker, while common sense Conservatives will axe the tax, build the homes, fix the budget, and stop the crime, the NDP Liberal Prime Minister is not worth the cost, crime, or corruption after 8 years. Canadians are sick and tired of seeing the NDP leader pretend to be outraged over the Arrive scam. Let me remind the House that the Prime Minister needed votes to keep funding his $60 million Arrive scam, and the NDP came to their rescue. Joining Conservatives and voting no would have saved Canadians tens of millions of dollars. Hear, hear. Does the coalition between the Prime Minister and the NDP require them to fund the Arrive scam?
Hear, hear. The Honourable Government House Leader.
I think it'd be useful, Mr. Speaker, if we just move on from the slogans written in the Leader's office for one moment while I address another issue that would actually help Canadians today. On this order paper, Bill C-35, which will guarantee lower child care costs for every single mother and father in this country. That can pass on a voice vote today. Well, that member, instead of taking his orders from the Leader, walked down the office to the Leader's office and tell him, pass C-35, bring down child costs today for Canadians.
The honourable member from Brantford Grant.
This member stands for the rights of Canadians and getting to the heart of this $60 million Arrive scam. They voted voted yes at least 8 times to give tens of millions of cost overruns, money for nothing contracts to shell companies, including $20 million contract to a two-person basement business that wrote the terms for their own contract. This Prime Minister is not worth the cost nor the corruption. I'll ask again, what did they have to do to get them to require them to fund the Arrive scam?
Here. The Honourable Government House Leader.
Well, I see that answer had a little effect, but I would again encourage my honourable colleague, instead of taking all the inbound invective and all the rage farming from the Leader's office, that he trudge back down that long hallway to his Leader's office and say, Mr. Leader, you know what we can do today? We can bring down dental care costs for Canadians by passing the bill of the fall economic statement that will help seniors, that will help poor families, that will help children in this country. We can have an impact today on Canadians' lives. Stand up and vote for Canadians.
After 8 years, Canadians know that this NDP Liberal government is not worth the cost or the corruption.
Right.
With NDP help, these Liberals gave at least $20 million to a two-person company during the Arrive scam scandal for no work done, and Canadians want their money back. Meanwhile, the Auditor General found a stark absence of documentation. Reports now show that tens of thousands of emails were illegally deleted. Will the Prime Minister and his NDP partners responsible for this scandal stand up and tell us when they will release the documents that are missing?
I'm going to encourage all members to please not take the floor when they are not recognized by the chair, so that the chair and all members can hear the questions and the answers. The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Public Safety.
Mr. Speaker, while the Conservatives want to pretend that this is an issue that the government doesn't take seriously, we do. Mr. Speaker, we are very concerned about these documents, and that is precisely
No, you're not.
why we
That's why you guys
support the
deleted
Information Commissioner's decision to review this matter. And Mr. Speaker, CBSA has already indicated that they will work with the Information Commissioner on providing any information they have. As I've said before, we want to get to the bottom of this, and any wrongdoing will come with consequences.
The Honourable Member from Wellington Halton Hills.
Mr. Speaker, a very simple question. When will the government release the Winnipeg lab documents to this House?
The Honourable Minister for Health.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. The short answer is imminently. It's going to happen right away. But I want to thank all parties, because it is through cooperation and working together, the mechanism that we set forth. Remember, it is the Public Health Agency of Canada that makes decisions around redactions. We set forward a collaborative process that all parties participated in, and as a result of that, this is exactly why additional information will be deposed before this House, and that additional information was exactly the intention in setting up that committee, and that means that Canadians will have additional views on the information therein.
The Honourable Member
a whole lot of nothing.
Wellington Halton Hills.
Mr. Speaker, the 4 MPs on the Winnipeg Lab Committee found that most of the information the government withheld from Parliament was withheld to shield the Prime Minister and ministers from embarrassment rather than to protect national security. These 4 MPs, including a Liberal member, recommended that the majority of the information withheld by this government be made public. Will the government finally admit that its decision to withhold documents from Parliament wasn't to protect national security, but rather to protect itself from political embarrassment?
The Honourable Minister of Health.
Well, Mr. Speaker, of course, the honourable member across knows very well it is the Public Health Agency of Canada, not the Government of Canada, that makes a decision with respect to redactions. And those decisions have to do with national security and also with the protection of employees. And what we said, and by the way, it was initiated by this government, is we said there were questions that parliamentarians had, wishing to see additional information. We then, working, and I would remind the Conservatives didn't want to participate in this process. They actually were against participating in the process that produced the documents. It was the NDP, then the Bloc, and then the Conservatives all participated, and that's exactly why this information is available to Canadians.
You want to split that hair?
Ask order. Order.
What are you going to do? Mute the microphone again?
Colleagues, it is important for this conference. If I could ask the member from Ajax and the member from Sherwood Park, Fort Saskatchewan, to please take their conversation outside of this chamber, or to ask questions and to receive responses.
Wow.